Hi, everyone, and welcome to Book Club with Bay. I am Bay, and this is Bay. Say hi, Bay.
Hi, Bay.
And today we're talking about Succubus Blues by
Succulus.
whatever, um, by
Richelle Mead.
Richelle Mead. Thank you. I can never remember. I get Rachel's and Rochelle's mixed up. I'm sorry. Um, who she wrote the Vampire Academy. I'm correct about that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. Because the series is not on her website. I looked. I double checked.
It's not.
It's not.
Why? It's
I don't
beloved.
know. Um, I looked. I checked. It's on her website.
Weird.
Which I thought was interesting. It's like under books and stuff. I didn't see it.
Look,
Um,
I'm. May. Hmm. That's weird.
so it seems like only her like YA-ish stuff.
That's what. That's what. That's what I was thinking until I got to that last series, and Um. I'm not.
I'm not sure
The
though.
Age of X. I don't know if Age of X is YA or not.
Is this the first series she ever published? Is that what I'm seeing?
Um.
No, because
Let's
Vampire
go to.
Academy came out in 2007 as well.
Yeah. Let's go to her wiki.
Yeah, let's do that. We should have. I'm sorry. We should have done this first.
Yeah, I mean, Succubus Blues was her first book published.
Okay.
Yeah, Age of X is adult, but she did the first two books and then she just didn't do the third one, and it doesn't look like she's gonna finish it. But is Dark Swan on her website?
Yes,
Because that also looks to be adult.
I think so.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Okay.
Maybe Age of X is kind of like more new adult, so she's like, oh well, we can just pretend it's young. Maybe yeah, maybe she's just wants to focus on her YA stuff, I suppose. It's weird though. Her unfinished series is on her website, and yet her finished series are not.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, but and I was
She hasn't
wondering
released
if
a book in years.
hmm?
She hasn't released a book since 2018. Hmm. Random as. Anyway,
um but
sorry.
yeah, so we've already done Vampire Academy and Bloodlines. And
Yes.
so I read this book a while ago. I think
I think I half read this book when I was like 20, and I was just like, I can't be bothered with this. But
I don't
it's it, I,
remember
it's better
I don't
now.
remember when I read this book. I know I read it around the time that I was first reading through the entire Mercy series.
Yeah.
Was when I read the first couple books in the series. Um, so that's about the time that I first read this book. So it's been a number of years. It's been 4 or 5 years since I've read it. Um, but yeah, so it's an adult book, but I mean, I think you can definitely see similarities in the writing style.
Oh yeah, you can tell that it's written by the same author as um, Vampire Academy. Oh, speaking of as well, at some point as well, we also have to do that. Like whenever we get a chance to do the Fallen movie, we also need to watch Vampire. I have not watched
Oh
it yet.
no, I don't want to watch it.
Oh, we said we
Paycheck,
were
what's up?
going to.
Oh yeah,
We said we were.
I know, but I don't want to. Um,
Well, I mean,
well,
another. We'll have to talk to Addie about it, but although she hasn't, has she read it? We'll have to work out if we're gonna do Vampire Academy with
She
Addie or not.
hasn't read it, like.
Yeah. Well, because the other option as well is we don't have to do the whole like watching it live. We can just like watch it and talk about it after, even like per episode. 'Cause I
That'll
think there's
probably
only
be
10
easier,
episodes.
honestly.
Yeah, let's see how many episodes are there. Academy series.
We can work that out later.
There's 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So far. So we can do
that. But I think her style lends pretty well to adult. I'll say that.
Yes.
And also, I mean, I think first of all, her style lends pretty well to adult. I think that's also why I still find her YA books enjoyable.
Well, that's one of the things we're saying about Rose and Sydney, especially like as YA protagonists, they weren't insufferable.
I personally don't, for the most part, find YA very enjoyable to read anymore, which is fine. I'm no longer
because you're outside audience. Of that target audience.
I am outside that target audience now. So
but
it's
that's
fine
part
that
of what makes it. But that's part of why it makes such fun book club books as well, though.
Well, that's why it makes fun book club books. But I am no longer in the target audience for YA, and I know that some adults do find it enjoyable, and that's fine too.
I find some enjoyable.
Right, but a lot of adults find a ton of YA books enjoyable, and that's fine too. I'm not saying that's not fine, but I personally find most of them not enjoyable on my own time to read. And I don't like it at all.
We used to enjoy House of Night.
Yeah, I can't.
Just remember that we used to enjoy House of Night, and I don't. I can't think of how or why. I did.
I can't either. So yeah, I don't know, but I still find Richelle Mead's writing enjoyable, especially in the context of an adult book. I find it enjoyable, especially. I also found I recall not enjoying this book that much the first time I read it. I actually liked it. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, well, like I said before, I DNF'd this the first time I read it. I stopped at maybe about a third of the way through. When I was, I think, about 20 or something.
Mm-hmm. I would have been about 20 the first time I read it too.
It's not for 20-year-olds apparently.
Yeah, because I enjoyed it. So this book I would say is very a good example actually of PNR and like urban fantasy, and just like the paranormal genre in general, where we get a good amount of boy toy fun times and just some kind of like murder mystery or whatever. Like, so there's enough plot to keep you engaged, but also like boy toy fun time, and so whatever you're here for, there's enough of both. And so if you're not in the mood for romance that day, it's fine. We also have another thing to do, but if you are here for romance, that's cool too. And it does a really good job of balancing both. And I found a couple authors within paranormal that do both of those things particularly well, and I like it when there are authors that can do that.
And can we just take a moment as well to appreciate, because I think there was only one actual sex scene in this book. There was other stuff, but two. That's right, I forgot about Warren. Either way, well, okay, actually, now that I remember it, they're not. One thing about a lot of sex scenes in books is like they're just really awkward to read. Hers weren't too awkward.
No, I didn't find them awkward.
And there was none of. I think half the reason what makes them awkward is like the euphemisms and the cutesy names for stuff or whatever, and there was none of that, which was good.
Yeah. I also found her the romantic parts of the books where she's like building up the romance. I thought that was like really well done, actually.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I should take notes, because I struggle with writing romance when I'm by myself. When I'm with Addie, she helps, but like when I'm by myself, I struggle with it a lot. And I was like, I need to take notes. Because she did such a good job with just like really random, very like what should be like very boring scenes, making them super interesting. And
Yeah.
I was like, write that down. I
Well,
was like, whatever the
like,
hell she did.
well, that, and like on that note as well, like it was stuff like, it's kind of reminiscent of like when you're first starting to date someone as well, right? Because you'll be doing something so mundane, but to you it's like the most exciting thing ever, because it's like, like the hand accidentally grazes your hand, and it's like really like ooh,
Yeah,
and you get the and she managed to put that into the text, like
right.
those kinds of just boring, normal, mundane moments that we all experience at the beginning of a relationship, where it's the most exciting thing on the planet, even though to everyone else you're just like, he bumped into you while he was walking. Why are you excited?
Right. But also like as if I haven't texted Addie or she hasn't texted me like, he bumped into me while we were walking. That has happened. I swear you can ask her. I'll text her right now. She's texted me stuff like that. And also I've texted back like a whole block of exclamation points over it. So
Yes.
um and she did manage to capture that sort of thing really well. And so and I was quite impressed with that because I don't think in a while I've actually read um buildup of romances that were that good in quite a while. And I definitely didn't appreciate that the first time I read this. And the other thing I didn't really appreciate the first time I read this was the actual development of the love triangle, which was very good. um, I
Was.
was, I was,
I
I
didn't
was
mind it.
actually, I was so invested in
I
the love.
mean,
I was
I'm
so
not gonna
into it.
lie. I had a sneaking suspicion of the antagonist, right? Because I didn't know this. Because, like I said,
I remembered from the first time I read it who it was. I knew, but I didn't
it
care.
just seems so obvious, but I didn't care. It's like it is like in a lot of Mercy books, like where you know who the antagonist is in a lot of the Mercyverse books, right? You know
Right.
it like well in advance, but you just don't care because the
But
ride
also
is fun.
the journey is very fun.
Yes, I don't
Um,
care if I don't care if the plot twist is not at all twisty to me, as long as the ride is fun.
well, because it's not just about the plot twist, it's also about like, but how is she going to react? How are we going to resolve it? Because even if you can figure out what the twist is, um, you don't know how how the author's actually going to resolve the twist.
Yeah,
Because that's part of the twist too, right? It's not just like the
yeah,
reveal; it's also the fallout from the twist. That's part of
yeah.
it. And I
And
don't
but
always
also
know,
though,
like,
what
and
if
so
you
even if
and
I see it coming, I don't know how it's going to resolve.
yeah, but then it's also like, but what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong and
Right?
it
Yeah.
is it?
Um, but as far as the love triangle, I really found myself pretty invested in the love triangle,
Yeah,
and I
and
was like,
like is
I'm freaking here for it. I was having
and
fun with
also
it.
like as soon as he said sister as well, I knew exactly who it was.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't care because it was fun. But
It was a fun
no,
journey. Also, I, this book was also very chill. Um,
it was.
it was
I didn't.
there.
I
There's
didn't
like
feel stressed reading it. You know how some books you just feel like you your whole body's just tense.
right, yeah. It was so. This might sound like a bad thing. It's not a critique, actually. There's not a huge sense of urgency throughout the book, and that's not a critique. I enjoyed that actually. I was I had a good time reading it, and you don't have like this heart. There's not a ton of action. We're just hanging out, sometimes hanging out with kids at a birthday party, and
And that led to a really cute thing later on
and
when she
like
hears his thoughts.
yeah, and you're just kind of like just hanging out with the character, and you're just like here for the ride. I don't know. Um,
I'm not. I have a confession to make though, and I hate myself for doing this. I looked up spoilers.
yeah, I did that last time. The spoilers are a bit off the wall.
I'm, I'm part of me is annoyed with myself because I think I would have enjoyed learning that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm upset that I know. I'm upset that I know the things as well.
But
because I knew a bunch of stuff going in, and I had forgotten that I did not find out on my own, and that I wasn't supposed to know all of that yet because I hadn't actually read it. I had looked it up, and I'm annoyed with myself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh well, it'll. I'm sure the
But
ride will still be fun.
well, I'm actually interested in and am more looking
how it
forward to
develops.
experiencing the journey this time.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be fun.
But we haven't actually talked about anything yet. So anyway, we've just been vaguely alluding to
Yes.
shit. Okay, so let's do characters first, I guess. Or we'll do world building. World building's easier. So
Angels, demons,
but
succubi,
yeah, so in this
incubi.
world they're like, it seems like there are demons that oversee like certain areas or whatever. And then there are angels and demons. There's succubi.
Yeah.
There's implications that they're incubi as well. And vampires, those are like and imps, but we don't have, I don't know what the imps actually do.
So based on my spoiler research, it looks like one of the things they do is make deals. So actually, I think it was even said in this as well. An imp is who she made the deal with.
Okay.
So they make deals for people to and what's his face? Oh, what's her? Is it Hugh?
Hugh, yeah.
Yeah. So the first scene, that dude made a deal with Hugh to lose his V card.
Oh, when he's doing that because he's an imp. Okay.
Yep. So I think imps are the ones that make the deals for people to sell their souls.
Okay.
For whatever.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So
Paul Martin. I remember his name because she mentions it for about 2/3 of the book.
So, so our main character. So we're in Seattle, Washington. Our main character, her name is Georgina Kincaid. Is a succubus. And this is actually where we get into a couple critiques I have. She is, well, again, spoilers, you know the drill. She is a succubus, and she became a succubus because she was, she's from ancient Greece. And if there's one thing that, if there's one thing that could have been done better, I would have made Georgina Kincaid significantly younger, personally.
Because she still makes, from the sounds of it as well, from what I've learned from spoilers and everything, she seems to make the same mistakes over and over and over again.
I would also say, like, I just also from her, because we're in first person, first of all, and doing a very old character from first person, I don't even know how you would do it.
I'd rather die. That's how you do it.
I would rather. I would
even like a couple centuries old character from first person would be tough, right?
Yeah, it would. It would suck. I wouldn't want to.
Let alone, like, how long ago was ancient Greece?
3200. No, BCE. 3200 BCE. No, that's wrong. Classics are not
19.
Yeah, thank you. Classics are not my specialty. Sorry, 3200 BCE is the Bronze Age. I'm dumb. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we're looking at 12 to 1800 BC. So she's like almost at youngest, she's 3,000 years old.
It's too old. But the thing is, she doesn't feel 3,000 in the slightest.
Thank Christ. Because, like, Bran, he's what, maybe a 1 millennium old, give or take a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, I get why him and Sam are like, like, life sucks because, like, they're 1,000 years old.
Can you
But
imagine
she's
the
3 times
apathy?
that.
Can you
She's
imagine
3 times that.
The apathy. Oh my God.
Yeah. I think the one thing that keeps her, I think what it is that keeps her not ridiculous is she's the succubus who doesn't want to be a succubus. She's not like other succubi, okay? She's not like other girls. She likes to do her own makeup and get dressed in her own clothes in the morning, etc., etc. And I think that's probably what keeps her from being terribly insufferable is the fact that she wants the mundane and participates in it as much as possible.
I guess I'm like, as a historian, I can't help but note also though that I always like think about when I think about old things, creatures, the advancement of technology, because the advancement of technology from like ancient Greece up to the Industrial Revolution was relatively slow, honestly. Not a whole lot
Yeah.
happened, and it happened over centuries. But in the
And then
Industrial
it was
Revolution and then
just
to the technological revolution is what's happening now. Um, very fast.
well,
And
like even in
have you met
our
your and like
lifetime.
and real quick, have you met your mom? Have you met you? Have you ever sat down and gone, ugh, Windows 11? Ugh, I can't. I cannot with Windows 11. I cannot. I can fucking not with Windows 11. Or the way where do they put this button that used to go here in my car? How dare they? Or we push buttons to start cars now. Have you ever heard an
I
adult say that?
so you know what though? I cannot wait until we can get an electric car, and for 3 reasons. One, I just want to be able to push the start button, and I know you can get that in non-electric cars, right? But there's more to it. Two, and this one is also not exclusive to electric cars. I want the like unlock on approach thing because it is a pain to find my keys every time I come near the damn car. It is a pain. 3, school pickup in summer. My God, what I would give to be able to just have the air conditioner running.
No,
Because
I
it
get
gets so
that.
hot. It
But
gets so hot.
imagine the frustration of Windows 11, but times like a million. Okay, just imagine that, and that's what it would feel like to be 3,000 years old. Okay, you would not know how to function
Yeah,
because
I think the advantage is, right, is I think she was about 18 when she became a thing. But I don't know at what, I think for vampire, I don't know what it'd be like for vampires, especially in this mythology, because it depends on the mythology you're in, right, when it comes to
right.
vampire. But like, for example, with werewolves in Mercyverse, I think with Georgina as well and everything like that, because her brain never reached the declination. Like 25 is when everything starts to go downhill. Slowly, like it declines much more slowly than it goes uphill, right? Uphill is pretty
Right.
quick, 25 years versus what, up to 75 years.
Right.
So you're much more capable of learning stuff before 25 than after
But most
25.
mythologies don't say that though. Most mythologies don't explicitly
I
say
know, but
like
that's my headcanon
that
though. I
because
think it's easier to
I
adapt
think
if
only Twilight has ever said that. So unless you say it, I don't, it's not there. I'm not writing your book for you. So that's not what you said.
but
So,
I'm just saying though, I think it's easier for her to adapt because her brain was not yet 25 and
well,
declining.
I don't know that. That's not what she said to me. So it's not in text. So I don't know that. Um, so, but I'm just saying, like, realistically, the thing about the thing about writing a very old person is I would struggle to write somebody who's 40. I cannot imagine trying to write somebody who's like older than like 100. I just can't. Um,
Yeah,
and
that would be
like from first
tough.
person. It's just something that came off just because we're in her head. From first person anyway. Writing somebody who's older from third person's a lot easier because you've interacted with older people, but
Yeah.
that internal monologue's really hard. Um, but it's something that came off odd a couple of times throughout the book. I would say. And the other
Yeah,
thing is though that like for the other characters like Jerome and Carter who are angels and they're like, you know, they've been around since the beginning of time, they don't come
Carter's
off as
fun.
weird even because they come off as very fun, you know, because it's very because honestly, writing old mysterious people is like the easiest shit. I don't know why that's easy, but it's very fun, it's very easy. But
And
writing
you know what?
old people from first person is very difficult.
Yeah, and I will say Jenny should have taken a note from how Carter was written on how to write Apollo, because he's
Mm.
personable. Like Carter, I mean, Carter's a dick, right? He's an arrogant angel dick,
I Carter's my
but I
favorite
love him.
character. I don't
But
care.
but
I
Apollo,
love
but
him.
Apollo, but Apollo is an arrogant god dick, right? And he is just insufferable once he's Apollo. Whereas Carter is fun. I enjoy him. And like Carter, he's sarcastic, he's quippy, he's like all the things that I think Jenny was trying to do with Apollo. But
Give me 1 second.
no worries. But yeah, we didn't even go through characters. So while she's doing stuff, I might start with characters. So we start off with Georgina. Yeah, she's the succubus. Then we'll say Jerome and Carter. They are the local angel and demon duo. Carter is an angel. Jerome is a demon in this world as well. Demons are literally just fallen angels. Like there's not different kinds. Yeah. So an angel has to do something to fall. It's not quite. It's interesting actually. Also, the concept of what makes an angel fall and what sin is in this story. But I'll talk about that more when she gets back. Um, we have Seth. He is the mysterious author man who is one point of the love triangle with Georgina. She's he's her favorite author, and then yeah, he's doing a book tour, and she works at a bookshop, and they meet, and it's weird and but fun. Um, there's Roman, who is the mysterious guy who she meets and kind of starts to date, but doesn't actually date, but then she does date, and then she makes out with him, and then freaks out and because as a succubus, she can't have any sort of intimacy without sucking life force and corrupting souls. Um, like she can't turn it off, so she tries to avoid. And then when she gets all make outy with him, she stops. She's got some vampire friends. Um, oh fuck, I can't even remember their names now. I think one of them's Cody.
Yes, one of them is
Yeah,
Cody.
because he was the one that taught Seth how to dance. She's got Hugh, who is her boss. He's an imp. With like her her supernatural paranormal boss. Then she's got her real life world boss, who is Warren, and he's a scumbag. So she sleeps with him and sucks his life force because she doesn't feel guilty, because he's a bad guy. Um, then there's Doug, who is also a boss of some kind. I think he's like a middle manager or something. She works with him as well. Also Bruce, he works there too. He's not really important, so that's fine. Then there is also, I can't remember pregnant chick's name, but there's a pregnant chick that she also works with. Like she's got good person relationships and whatever. Then there's creepy demon guy at the beginning. I cannot remember his name. Um, then there's, oh crap, I can't remember his name. There's a guy that used to work at a rival bookshop, but now he owns his own bookshop and also sells teas. And he is mortal, but he's gifted. He can sense, um, immortal beings, um, and he is kind of like someone that everyone goes to for advice and whatnot. Then there's Helena, who owns the other bookshop, and her and Georgina have lots of conflict in the book. I don't know if there's any other characters. I mean, there's other smaller ones, but I can't think of. I think I've gone
You
through all
got
the characters.
Roman and Seth and everything.
Yeah, I did Georgina, Roman, Seth, Carter, Jerome, Hugh, Doug, Bruce, Preggers, Helena. What's his name? Is it Ian?
Who?
I can't remember his name. The guy that used to work at the bookshop, but now he had like the other bookshop, but now he has his own place and he also sells tea, and he's the one that can sense immortal beings and stuff.
Oh, Eric.
Eric. Okay, my bad. I don't know where I got Ian from. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, Cody and the other vampire dude, I can't remember his name. But that's about the it, I think. I mean, there's some other like small like couple scene characters and stuff, but none of them are really worth bringing up. Oh crap! There was something I wanted to. Oh yeah, that was it. The concept of sin and what makes an angel fall in this book.
Okay, yeah.
I liked that it's all subjective to the individual. So you like in this, right? If you do the most atrocious things, but you think you're doing it for the right reason, cosmically speaking, are you really sinning? It's not confirmed, I don't think, but it's theorized about. But that's how it works. Like for example, like 200 years ago, even 100 years ago, probably hell, even half a century ago, premarital sex would have been massive, like marks against you on the cosmic scale regarding sin, because it was perceived by society and therefore by most people as bad. Whereas now it's far more acceptable. So it's not really a corrupting offense because people don't see it as a corrupting offense. And I kind of find that interesting that that sin and morality is subjective to the individual. Because it was suspected that an angel was maybe going to fall or something, and that's who the antagonist was, like an angel on the road to falling. And they were trying to work out how this angel could be doing atrocities without actually falling. It's like, but are they actually doing atrocities in their mind, and would that make them fall?
Right.
So it was interesting. I liked that it wasn't black and white.
Yeah.
I mean, it ended up being an irrelevant point based on who the antagonist ended up being, so that might not actually be the case in this world, but I did like the conversation about it. Because, yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, I think done characters. I think we've done a relevant amount of world building. I mentioned that she can't have any sort of intimacy without doing a sucky suck.
Unless it's with another immortal.
Immortal. Yeah.
And she dies if she doesn't.
Yeah, like she has to. It's her life force.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she only does what she has to do with people that are already corrupted, which gives her a weaker meal, for want of a better term. So it's like she's having just like a plain salad instead of like, meat, potatoes, and roast veggies for sustenance. But yeah, so we open with prostitution. That's what she literally is in the first scene. She doesn't, because like she does what she has to do to survive, and she more or less just tries to live a life beyond that. But the scene we open with is she's talking to Hugh, who is her impy boss. And he's like, pretty please, this guy made a deal with me to lose his virginity because he's a basement dwelling 34-year-old virgin, effectively. Like, he's just the stereotype of that. But he's a like, I was about to say, but he's a nice guy, but that even has its own negative connotations. It seems like the guy's actually sweet. He's just like sad. Life has not been in his favor. And he's a good soul. And she's like, I don't really want to corrupt this guy's soul. And he's like, but come on, like all the other hoes are busy. Because there's other kinds of sex demons. I don't quite know. We don't really go into what they are. I can't remember what they were, but they weren't succubi. No, puppy.
What?
He's sad. He's like, love me. But what was I gonna say? But yeah, they were all busy. So he's like, pretty please, and she's like, yeah, fine, I guess. So she does it, and I will say, 6 minutes for a 35-year-old virgin is actually pretty long.
I mean,
She was like, poor man, he only lasted 6 minutes, and I'm like, that's not bad. She's like, he sold himself for 6 minutes. I mean, yes, like when you put it in that, but is it like she's like, I guess like going 34 years without sex is like not going to do wonders for your stamina, but I feel like he did okay.
I mean, I'm guessing like a minute or two of that was just walking in and out of the house. So
yeah, I guess, but still 4 minutes is pretty good. I just given the context, I feel like he did okay. He lasted longer than 10 seconds. That's it. Like he did it. His P didn't go near the V and just. He actually got to have a little bit of sex before it happened, so it's fine.
And he's a good person, so it's like
she's super glowy.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, sorry. Before we go more into plot as well, this was another relevant thing as well. One thing, because you like your main character to have flaws, right? And one of Georgina's flaws that Carter so rightly points out to her is like she's like, I just don't want all the attention, and I don't want people. Blah. I just want to be a normal girl. And Carter points out, he's like the angel. He's like, for someone who can shapeshift, because she can shapeshift, she can look like anything she wants to look like. Even animals, she can shapeshift into animals. He's like, for someone who can change their appearance at will and just wants to fit in and be a normal girl, you sure did choose to look like an absolute bombshell.
Right.
And by nature of being a succubus, she could look utterly repulsive and still attract people because she's got that aura to her.
But we also know that she looks different than how she actually looks or whatever.
Yeah, so actual her was like, this is according to the wiki. She's like she naturally 5'10". We don't really get a lot of about her appearance. I think she's quite plain looking, and she's quite tall.
Right.
So she's now 5'4", and yeah, looks like she's an 11 out of 10 without the aura, effectively.
Yeah.
With the aura, she's a 30 out of 10. But
yeah,
without it, she's like gorgeous. And yeah, Carter like just is like, hey, for someone who just wants to be like other girls, you sure did make yourself attractive.
I mean,
so like that's like I do like that she is a contradictory person, because I feel like we all are,
yeah.
and it's a flaw. And yeah, she's not some perfect whatever, and she doesn't have all of the stereotypical tropes. Like she's just like I just don't want to be. I just want to fly under the radar in my day-to-day life. And he's like, well, you could have looked ugly. Oh, someone's at the door. I'll be back in 1 sec.
No problem. Yeah, so the first thing that happens is she has this thing, and that's really just that establishes what she is, what she can do. And then she winds up in just like a verbal argument with one of the local vampires, a vampire named Dwayne. And I don't know, like in this book, we don't really get a sense of what vampires are like, really, even though she's friends with two of them or whatever. We don't really learn a lot about vampires, and what they can do or anything like that. But we do learn eventually that two lesser immortals can't kill each other. So like a vampire can't kill her, she can't kill a vampire, or she can't kill an imp, but the greater immortals can kill them and stuff like that. So in any case, she winds up kind of in this verbal sparring match with this vampire, and then she she goes away. And then later, like the next morning, she is told that Dwayne the vampire is dead. And Jerome, her like demon boss guy, wants to know if she's the one who did it. And she's like, no, I would never. I didn't do it. And also she couldn't do it. So they're asking if she hired anybody to do it. And this is where we learn about vampire hunters. They're apparently humans who are born with the ability to kill vampires, or to kill immortal creatures, like vampires. And we don't know if they can kill succubi or not. That's not really established in this book, but there are humans that can kill immortal creatures. And so so that's initially what we think is going on.
I'm back. There
but
we go.
Separately from Dwayne the vampire drama, do you need to go out and nothing's going to be okay until I take you out? Yeah? Okay.
Okay, so I only heard part of that.
Oh, so I got to Dwayne the vampire is dead. Some humans some humans can kill immortals.
I think it was just vampires, because I was saying like they can.
Well, vampires. Yeah, it doesn't get established. Like, and also immortals can't kill each other unless it's a greater immortal.
Yes.
But separately from vampire drama, our super duper favorite author of all of literary things, Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yes. Okay, I'll get to that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah, this is going to be exciting. All right, yeah, I'm going to take him out. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so she goes to work, all is normal, and then favorite author is coming, and she's like, I'm so excited. But then she also bitches that he doesn't release books quick enough, which I feel like is a normal complaint by many an avid reader and fan of specific authors. And for example, I don't feel like he's as bad as George R.R. Martin, because it has currently been, let's see, when did the last book come out for George R. R. Martin? Because I feel like I feel like it's been like probably at least a decade, right? Okay, so he's done some like novellas and shit. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about okay, so A Feast for Crows came out in 2005. Dance with Dragons came out in 2011. Yeah. So his last book came out like Black Book. The last book came out 11 years ago. And like where the fuck is A Dream of Spring and the Winds of Winter? Who knows? Anyway, because there's not even a release date on those yet. But I don't feel like Seth is that bad. I feel like his is probably like every year or so. Which I guess is more in line with Patty. Patty books, because yeah, she releases a new Mercyverse book once a year. And I feel like I would like her to do more. Although again, after reading the last one, I feel like again something went wrong in the last year. And I guess also that book got pushed back. Because normally she releases them around March or April or something, and this one came out a few months later, and it was originally meant to come out around I think April. So something was going wrong, and you could tell. Okay, that book felt rushed. So maybe I guess it's good when there's a year between books, but yeah. So I'm rambling. I'm sorry. Um, so she's all excited to meet him. So she goes home and dresses up and like gets herself looking all cute. And she's also like super glowy from like I guess eating Martin's life force. She didn't kill him. Okay, he's fine. He's just his soul's damned when he dies. That's where he's at. His soul's going to be damned when he dies. But so she's like she could rock up in a pair of like ripped trackies and an old t-shirt and it would still be fine. She'd still look like a bombshell. But she also dresses like a bombshell that night because she's excited. And then she gets there and there's this random guy standing there and she's like and guy drops one of favorite author's books. And she's like, that's sacrilege. How could you? You're going to have to burn that like the flag now because it's touched the floor and that's awful. And then she's having a bitch about how it takes him so long to put out his books. And oh my God, he must hate having to come here and deal with all the fans asking the same stupid questions over and over and over again. And then someone says something and she realizes, oh, she's been talking to him this entire time. So now she's mortified. He's awkward. Her boss, Warren, who she sleeps with on occasion because she's like, oh, well, he's a piece of shit. So I'll suck up his life force. That's fine. He's like, hey, baby, want to get naked later? And she's like, no, thank you. And he's like, no, we'll be getting naked later. It's fine. And she's like, no, for real, no, thank you. And he's like, no, for real. And then the book reading and book signing stuff happens, and boss man is like, okay, time to bone now. And she's like, but I have a date. And he's like, no, you don't. And she's like, yeah. And he's right there. And she's like, hi. And random guy's like, who, me? And she's like, yes, you. And he's like, couldn't be. But no, he walks over and he's like, hey, sorry I'm so late. I got caught in all of the traffics. And she's like, no worries, you are here now. Shall we leave? And she's like, yes, we shall. Yes, yes, indeed. And they leave. And she's like, okay, thanks, bye. And he's like, no, I promised you a date. And she's like, but that was a cover. And he's like, I don't care. I promised you a date. And it is cold out. Take my jacket. And she's like, no, I don't need your jacket. And he's like, it is cold out. Take my jacket. So she takes the jacket. He's like, allow me to walk you home thusly. And she's like, okay, I can do that. Turns out she lives 2 blocks away from work. So he's like, you cheated. And she's like, nope. And he's like, bye. And then she's like, oh, damn, I still have his jacket. Yeah, there's a lot of conversation about jacket stuff. Oh, also, sorry, before she leaves, she talks to Seth, who is the author dude. And she's like, can you sign my book? And he's like, yes. Can you give it to me? And I'll give it back to you another time. Oh, and they also arranged for her to show him around town the next day because he's thinking of moving there to be closer to his brother. So yeah, she gets she doesn't have a book. She's upset. She's like, I want to read, because also she only reads his books 5 pages at a time, because I get it, and I admire her self-control, because you only get one chance to read a book for the first time, so she wants to savor it. And I get that feeling, but I have no self-control. So I don't think I could do that. But yeah, I wish I could though. Cuz yeah, if I could selectively, if I had a superpower, it would actually be to selectively forget things, so I could read my favorite books for the first time again. So yeah, the next day she's like, "Oh, I still have Roman's jacket." And then she goes downstairs, and I can't remember what it was, but there was a gift in the lobby from Roman.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, it's a paint by numbers thing, I think.
No, this is the first one. Like, they met, he walked her home, she had his jacket. I think it might have just been flowers the first time.
No, she got herself flowers.
There was something that he gave her the first time. The first one hasn't happened yet.
I think it was the paint by numbers thing, or is that
no,
a different
that's
time?
later, after they have the date, and she's talking about how she wants to be a choreographer if she could do anything, but she's not creative.
Maybe it is flowers. I don't know.
You know what? I normally have the ebook up. I'm gonna find it. But now it's time to show Seth around. Where do they live again?
Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah, so now it's time to show Seth around Seattle, and she's like, "Got my book?" And he's like, "Lol, no." And wait, sorry, I'm just Succubus Blues. Okay, sorry, I just want to bring it up because I like having the thing. And yeah, so they go around, and she's like, this is Seattle, yo. And he's like, well, that's cool. And then she's like, oh, because also he likes to write in bookshops.
Yeah.
Because her, like, where she works, it's a bookshop that has like the books and a cafe and stuff. Like, it's a vibe. It's not just a thing. Which fun. And where the hell? There you are. And so they go to a different one to find Eric because she wants to ask him questions.
They go to a Vietnamese restaurant.
That's true. They do food stuff, and
then he's like, "Ooh, I'd like to live here."
Yeah, I want to live in the college district because I guess that's normal.
Honestly, now that I think about it, it's kind of fucking weird.
It's like, I mean, it's not weird if like you're like 20, but he's not 20. I don't know how old he is, but he's definitely not 20.
It's a little strange.
I think he's like in his 30s. I know she looks 28. So I imagine he's age appropriate for 28.
Yeah,
so
well, I mean, the first time she sees him, she's like, oh, he's younger than I expected. So.
Yeah, where the frick are you? Sorry, I'm just trying to find this book in my thingy. So I want to open it. There we go. View. Yeah, let's actually what is his name? Seth
Mortensen.
There we go. Seth Mortensen, Succubus. Yeah, let me. I don't think it. Yeah, nothing. I can't find his age, but I imagine he's somewhere between 30 to 40.
Well, he's younger than 40 because she says when she first meets him, like, oh, I was expecting a writer in his 40s or something like that.
Maybe he's in
And
early 30s.
yeah, because she's surprised at how young he is. Because she imagines him as a writer in his like 40s or so.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah, so I guess now that Seth was in his mid-30s, a bit older than I looked in this body, but younger than the 40-something writer I'd always imagined. So mid-30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's showing him. They go to on their outing as well. They go to the rival bookstore where Helena works. Is it Helena or Helena?
Helena, I think.
I think Helena. We'll just call her that. Why not? Where Helena works, and she has a bit of a squabble, I suppose, with her.
Yeah.
To put it politely. So Helena is this hippy dippy, like, I'm psychic and I will tell you all of your aura shit person. And she always tells Georgina that her aura is terrible and she's gonna have a miserable, unfulfilled life. And Georgina's like, well, fuck you, bitch. And so they squabble over that. And then one of the employees is like, I don't like working here because she's so awful. And here is where Eric works now. And she's like, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Also, if you're looking for a new job, we're hiring. So she poaches some employees. Which I'm not going to lie. Like, I get her not wanting to work there, like that chick.
Yeah.
But also I get why Helena's pissed.
Yeah. I do believe it is illegal to poach employees. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I said, I think it actually is illegal to poach employees.
But I don't know, though, because, I mean, all she said was like, hey, here's our business card if you're looking for a new job. Like, and there's a bookstore employee. Is it to poach employees? No, it's not illegal.
Oh, okay.
But, however, ask the employee whether or not they have any restraint clauses in their employment contract, like non-competes or whatever. Yeah, I mean, because otherwise, if it's illegal to poach employees, like, I guess you'd never be able to, like, offer anyone a job. Most people are employed when they're job hunting.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, yeah. I don't know.
And even if it was, I don't think what she did was technically poaching, because she didn't say, we will give you a job. She said you are free to apply.
That's true.
With someone else. The interview was with someone else. It was with Preggers.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. It's rude, though. What she did is rude, but I also get it. So I've got mixed emotions on that. But, yeah, then her and Seth part ways, and she realizes that she forgot to get her book again, and she's like, well, damn it. And I think it takes her 3 days to remember, oh, yeah, I work in a bookstore.
Right, and
So
we have literal
stacks
of the book that I want to
literally
read.
stacks, because he was just here doing a signing.
Yeah.
He's got a full-blown freaking display.
Yeah, he's got like he's got a whole display dedicated to just him.
Yep. Yeah, I think it takes days for her to realize that. I'm just like, you're a numpty. Like, just get another copy.
Yeah, like, it's one of the things that makes you kind of like, I'm sorry, she's how old again?
At 3 to 4 centuries. Sorry,
Yeah,
millennium.
yeah,
3 to 4
exactly.
millennia.
And you're kind of like, I don't know.
I mean, I guess it does show though that age does not inherently equal wisdom.
8 is just a number.
Except for all the circumstances in which it's not.
Yeah.
Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, that was a joke, by the way.
Yes, and it was in context of using critical thinking skills.
Yeah, and nothing else.
And nothing else. Because there are times. Although I'm not gonna
Right.
lie though, I have defended inappropriate age gaps in book club before. Rose and Dimitri being he's 25 and she's 17. So, but their relationship though, I in my head when I read it, I'm still like 17 myself.
You know what though?
I see nothing wrong with it.
Here's my thing. Sorry, 1 second. Here's my thing about Rose and Dimitri, and here's what I'll say. I have maintained consistently that when it comes to yikesy things in books, a lot of it has to do for me with like how other characters react to it and stuff like that. And with Rose and Dimitri, other characters actually react to it as if it is yikesy.
Yeah. But that's not because of
And
their age though. That's because they're both meant to be her Lys's guardians.
yeah, but also when I was a teen, here's the thing though, when I was a teenager, I more or less interpreted it as like also because of their age gap. Like, and I recall knowing as a teenager
Well,
that the age gap was iffy. Like that's what I'm
well,
saying.
it's also acknowledged, and I think a big part of it as well is okay. Despite the fact of the age
Also,
of
he's
consent in
24.
Montana. Oh, 24. Sorry, my bad. My bad.
Because
I
that
don't
makes it
think
better. Does that make it better? I don't know if that helps.
well, it's 1 year.
It helps.
Okay.
It's a little better.
The age of consent in Montana is 16, and nothing happens until like what 2 weeks before she's 18. So she's almost a legal adult, like 2 weeks
Yeah.
shy of it. And I don't know.
Well, what I was gonna say is that like I recall as a
It's
teenager,
not predatory though. That's the biggest thing. Their relationship isn't predatory. If anything, it's predatory on her end.
I recall knowing as a teenager that their age gap was yikesy.
Yeah.
And like I recall actually thinking about it as a teenager, like and thinking about it in that way, like, oh yeah, he is like old. Like I remember thinking that, like, he's old,
Yeah.
you know? But I remember reading House of Night as a teenager too. Okay. And I read them at about the same time.
Yeah.
And when
you
Laurent was
know what the
presented
difference is?
when Laurent was presented to me as a teenager, real quick, instead of thinking, wow, he's old, I was like, ooh, he's old. You know, then there's a difference. I'm just saying. It was presentation. It's presentation for me. I don't know. Like, and from like the teenage perspective, because now I'm an adult, right? And so both times I'm gonna go, oh, he's old.
Yeah. But as an adult,
a teenager,
I'll tell you what the key difference is. Dimitri didn't pursue Rose. He never pursued her. Which makes it far less creepy. She was the one that kept on rocking up to him being like, fuck me. And he's like, but I can't. Please stop. Like, I want to, but I can't. Go away. Be gone, thought. Like, that was like his approach for like books. Multiple books. Whereas Laurent was like, I will seduce you with haiku.
Which, you know, worked. It worked on me as a teenager, I'll be honest. Like, I was
how did the haiku work on you?
Well, because he was okay as a teen.
You were younger. You were even
younger,
I guess.
Well, he was my favorite love interest.
Because you were young and stupid.
I'm just saying. Like, I know that this would
you
upset
hadn't
the
even
cast.
completed puberty yet.
I'm just saying this would upset the cast, but I'll just say at the time that Chosen came out, I was the exact age that they were like marketing to, because it came out like around the time, like, when did Chosen release date? No. Not that. March 2008. Okay. Never mind. So, but not right when it came out, but like I've started reading probably like when Burned or something came out. So like, but still, I was like in 7th grade or so. So I was like 13.
If you don't want the creepy guy to be beloved by your readers, write him as creepy. That's it.
And I don't know if that's what they thought they did, but they did not do that. I'm just saying.
And they made him potentially redeemable because it looks like Nephra killed him because she was jealous because of his thing with Zoe, and it's like, but okay, well then that means that, like, you know, he was having second thoughts or something. Like, you can't then like reveal him to be a creep, but then also redeem him in his death and then get mad at your readers.
Like I said, as a teen, he was my favorite. I didn't want him to die. I cried like a bitch when he died. At like 13. I was so mad. But yeah, so anyway, long story short, I think the difference between now, again, looking at a much bigger picture, should there be age gaps like that at all in like YA? That's a different conversation. But like, if there's going to be,
I feel like the Dimitri approach is the better approach.
Right.
Because by the time they got together, they were like, in a lot of ways, equals.
Right. Now that's not answering the should question. But no. I am saying that, like, as a teenager, was I aware that the Dimitri one was actually inappropriate? Yes. Was I aware that the House of Night one was? No, I was not. I was just into it.
And again, like, looking back as adults, the Dimitri one is way more appropriate.
Yeah.
Laura was a fucking predator. Like, he predated on her. She was still a hoe.
Yeah, and that's way more obvious as an adult, but like as a teen, you're just like,
yeah, you know, he's dreamy and he writes in poetry.
Yeah, and the point
like, can I look at your shoulder in the moonlight?
Well, and again, the actual point that they're trying to make doesn't land because none of the character reactions, none of the characters actually react in a way that
they react that she cheated on Eric, and then, oh, but he was just using you, and if you had known he was just pretending to like you, you wouldn't have fucked him. Okay, well, I guess he's a bastard then. None of it was none of it was he's older, and like Shawnee and Erin's like talking about him in general, like prior to everything happening, that's appropriate. It's normal for for teenage girls to like have crushes on the hot teacher. I think that's fine.
But no adult ever steps in and is like, oh my God.
Yeah. And again, there's that whole the only issue that anyone in the book had with it was she cheated on Eric. That was it.
Yeah, which, like, at that point, that's like the least of the problems. Yeah. But anyway, we're off topic.
Yes, we are so off topic.
Where were we?
I don't know what happened. They did the tour, and she's like, "Fare thee well," and he's like, "Yes, fare thee well indeed." I don't know what happens next.
I'm not sure either. Swing dancing?
Do we want to just more talk in generalities of plot instead of points? Because I can't remember them all.
Yeah, I don't remember them either.
Oh, we forgot a very, very important character, Aubrey.
Oh yes, the cat.
She has a cat that I don't know if the cat is just a cat. Because the way the cat behaves, it could just be a cat or it could be something else.
Well, I thought it was just a cat.
Like a friend. I feel like it's probably just a cat. But like the cat, she's like, you'll upset Aubrey, and Aubrey looks over and she's like, achoo! And she's like, yeah, see, Aubrey's upset now. So I don't know if Aubrey's just a cat or if she's like a special cat.
And now that you say that,
even
I'm
if
like, well, is she? I don't know.
I don't know. There's been I don't think she's like, like a shapeshifter or anything like that. I just feel like maybe she's a little bit more in touch with stuff. But I don't know.
I don't know. I think Aubrey's just a cat because that's how I would have written the cat. Like, and it would have just been because I enjoy writing animals that way.
Medea's a bit like that too.
It's fun.
Yeah, Medea's a bit like that too, and Medea is just a cat. I mean, she's a special cat, but she's just a cat.
I mean, she's special because she's in our lives. Like, I don't know.
No, like Medea, she likes vampires, she likes werewolves, unlike most cats, and that's the special thing. Oh, and she also likes to try and cuddle up to like Grey Lords because she's a freaking doesn't have a sense of self-preservation apparently.
Right. I would just also like to point out for the record that UPS claims that they tried to deliver my holo taco. They're lying bastards that hate joy and happiness. No delivery attempt was made, stating for the record.
Well, yeah,
it didn't happen.
Your front door is like just there.
And I literally watched the UPS truck drive away with my holo. I'm pissed. I'm infuriated.
Was this when you took the pupper outside or something?
It was before that. I was too mad to say anything.
I could tell something was off.
I honestly, I know.
I could tell something was off.
But here's the thing: it's a brand new formula, and I've been wanting to try. I'm sorry. I love nail polish. Okay, I'm so angry. I'm sorry. I've been looking forward to this because I've known it was going to be magnetics coming out for weeks. Okay, I'm so mad. So mad.
Look,
and here's the thing. I'm not going to get it tomorrow because Thanksgiving is a federal fucking holiday. I'm not grateful for anything. I'm very unthankful right now. Okay, I'm so mad. So mad.
And so do they reattempt delivery, or do you now have to go and get it?
They reattempt it on the next business day, so I won't get it till Friday. I'm so angry. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so they won't come back. I looked out my window, and it was just the UPS truck driving away. I'm so upset.
Why can't they just like put it in? He just didn't want to. He just didn't want to go inside.
I don't know what it was because I double checked my address, and because here's the thing: I have an account on Holo Taco, so it automatically fills out my address. And the amount I order from Holo Taco, I know my address is correct. So when it but I double checked it anyway. The address is right. Because sometimes with apartments, the apartment number, it's like a little sketch. But everything was correct. So, and I looked at it and I was like, okay, so my theory is that maybe he walked around on the first, on the first floor or something or whatever. And just went, nah.
No, that's it though. I did say it was, it pissed me off. I was like, I think it was on TikTok or something. I might not have seen it on TikTok, but I think it was a TikTok video. I was like, what? Or it even could have been a news article. It was more or less like why couriers and whatnot don't attempt delivery and then register it as attempted delivery. And the reason is because they're busy and they've got the amount of stuff they have to deliver in a day, or they don't get paid properly or something like that. And I'm just like, I don't care. Don't look, 'cause now I have to go to the post office. You were at my house. You drove to my house. You did not even get out of the car. You said you attempted delivery. I have a Ring doorbell.
I will come to you.
I know that you did. That's the thing as well. Like on most parcels now, like your phone number's on there because you have to enter your phone number, and they put that on there.
Yeah. I would have
Just
I would have
call me
walked
when you're around the corner,
yeah, I would
and
have walked all
I
the way
will run it.
across my here's the thing, I want this nail polish so bad. I know I'm ridiculous, but I would have walked all the way across my apartment complex, okay, for this fucking nail polish. I don't care. I'll come get it.
Hey, you would have ran. Admit it.
I would have. I don't give a shit.
Worst case is like you would have jumped over that fucking balcony and bolted if need
Jumped
be.
over I would have jumped over the balcony for it, okay? Like, attempted delivery my ass the things I would have done. Because
Just call me.
it says at 7:47 attempted delivery, and I'm like bullshit. Because like if they had called me and been like, we don't feel like walking up the stairs, I would have just I would have been gone. I wouldn't have cared.
Like you would have actually like worst case is like, look, I'm out of my balcony. I'm yodeling. Come to me, and then
Yeah.
and like just throw it up.
Yeah, just throw it up. I'll catch. Like Romeo for Art Thou Romeo. Just fucking chuck it. I don't care. They pack it pretty good. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
I mean,
I'll come to you. I'll
that's
come down and
probably
get
one of
it.
the least violent things that has happened to that package. Okay, I've seen
Right?
the way packages are treated.
I know.
Oh, it's funny, because we get cans of soft drink delivered
Mhm.
from Amazon because it's cheaper than the shop. And sometimes I'll put like a fragile sticker on it. I'm like, this is a carton of Coke. In what real? Why are you putting a fragile sticker on my carton of Coke? It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Also, Amazon is so stupid with how they package stuff. I swear. Like, you would not believe some of the boxes that our cans come in.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get
No, I
we'll get
know.
like a box that's like huge that you could fit like 3 cartons of Coke in. You open it, it's 1 carton of Coke and a shit ton of paper. I'm like, why? You have
Yeah.
boxes that fit it perfectly. Now that we're done bitching about parcel deliveries.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just like I was like really upset. I've been waiting all day. I was really excited.
No, that's okay.
I know
I
it's
would be,
I
I would be
know it's
livid.
but I'm
Oh,
pretty upset. It's not just nail polish to me, okay?
well, we had similar dramas with my iPad because we got it from Optus, and our account is in husband's name.
Mm.
And when we ordered it, because they didn't have the one I wanted in stock, they're like, we're gonna have to post it out, and it's like okay. And we even asked the woman in the shop. He's like I'm a stay-at-home mom. He works. Will I be able to collect the package? She's like, yes. We're like, excellent, great. We triple checked. Like we asked multiple times. Like, so I'll be able to get it. And we had this full conversation in front of her about how, like, that'll work. I'll be able to pick it up. When it gets delivered, I'll be able to get it because I'm at home and he's at work.
Yeah.
And all good. Except for when the guy gets there. And this was my birthday present as well, by the way. My birthday present was a new iPad. And so delivery man gets here. He's holding my iPad in his hands. Right
Holding
outside
it
my front door.
hostage. Yeah.
And he's like, but your name's not on the parcel. I can't give it to you. I need to see ID from the person who it is addressed to. And I'm like, excuse you? Like, I'm like, that is literally my property. Like, it's literally mine. He's like, yes, but it's not addressed to you. And I'm like, but it's like, I so wish. Part of me is like, I should have just grabbed it and ran inside.
Right.
I should have just
like,
grabbed it. Like it was like I could have just reached out and touched it.
I know. That's why, you know what? I don't think I would have been.
It took days
upset.
to get it. It took days, babe.
I don't think I would have been as upset if I hadn't watched the UPS truck just drive away.
It's like so close.
Yeah, no, that was the really upsetting thing is just like seeing it, and I'm like,
Yep. I just
driving away.
I so wish I'd just reach out and grab like what's he gonna do? Call the freaking cops, and when the cops rock up here, be like, you stole a package. I'd be like, no, I didn't. It's my property. And they'd be like, but your name was on the thing. I'm like, well, call my freaking husband. Call him. I dare you. I double dare you. I triple dare you.
Yeah. I'm like,
we have the same last name and the same address.
I want to find the UPS truck and just get on the truck. Like, where is it? Like a fucking gremlin. Like, why do they do that? It's so upsetting.
I don't know, because they hate joy. They hate happiness.
Yeah, they do, and I'm not sorry. I'm really mad.
That's fine. You're allowed to be mad. What are you doing for Thanksgiving anyway?
Me?
Yeah. Well.
Oh, well, yeah. Who else?
Would I be looking to?
Sorry.
Like you got someone else in the room. Don't do that here.
My parents, me and Noah, were going to his parents' house.
Nice. And you guys eat like relatively normal food because you aren't Midwest, right? Because I know that the Midwest do some really fucking weird shit with their Thanksgiving food.
Well, I don't like turkey. So we bring stuff for me to eat because I'm picky as fuck.
Fair.
So, like I'm making myself like pigs in a blanket and stuff like that. Because I like that. My mom makes me sweet potatoes. I will eat cranberry sauce, and like my mom also makes me a couple other things. So they're like, I don't know, like holiday food is not where I excel because I'm very picky, but
yeah, no, like when I'm saying like the weird
like the crazy Midwest casseroles and shit. Crazy Midwest casseroles and shit or whatever.
Oh yeah, like just like the like mayo and potato chip salad stuff.
Nope,
and
don't do that.
And like the green gooey, whatever the fuck it is, I don't know. But I've seen some really like you know like the really gross like in the gelatin dishes like where like it's a meal in gelatin. It's like they never evolved from the 50s.
We spent 2 weeks together. You know me.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying your people.
Yeah, no, I don't claim them. Okay.
I'm asking if you're what the fuck is that?
I don't know.
Oh my god! I need to screen.
Is this gonna scar me for life? It's probably gonna scar me for life.
It's gonna be confusing. That's what it's gonna be. Share. Cranberry candles as your salad.
Ew.
It's lit and it's food.
I don't like that. That's upsetting.
What the
No. Yeah. Whatever that is, we don't do that. I don't know what that is. My mom makes roasted red peppers for me with like mozzarella. It's like a Christmas thing, but she makes it on Thanksgiving because it's something that I will eat.
Yeah.
Everybody gets very concerned about me not eating on holidays.
One day you will eat on a holiday. One day when I get my farm, because I'm telling you, when I get property, I've already told husband I want peacocks because I want all different kinds of birds, right? Like I want chickens, I want ducks, I want geese, I want turkeys, you know, all that. But I also want peacocks for 3 reasons. One, well, peafowl in general, but one, they're peacock tail feathers. You can sell them like $10 a pop, right? Excellent. 2, I'm curious to try peafowl eggs. I'm curious, okay? And 3, I'm curious to try peafowl meat. I'm curious.
Have you ever seen peacocks in person?
Yes.
Okay. There's
Yeah,
a place if you
I
come,
like
we'll
further
have to
down the zoo. Sometimes there's peacocks.
we'll have to go. It's like a local place, and they just have them running around,
Yeah,
just
they're
out.
cool.
People try
Yeah,
to pet them. It's not a good idea.
yeah. Although, if they're your livestock peacock type thing, they're actually one of the more people friendly
These are not livestock.
fowls.
They're just
Yeah, they're just
they're
feral
just out,
peacocks.
and they're not friendly.
No.
And I've seen many a person try to pet them and almost get their hands bitten off for their trouble. So
Yeah, no. Like
it's
when I have
very
peacocks, they'll be used
amusing.
to people. They'll be used to people. So you might like if you come back and I have property and I have peacocks, you'll be able to pet my peacocks, okay? And then you can eat
Okay.
them and see if you like them. Oh my god! Imagine if that ends up being like your favorite meat, and so when you get home, you're like, we need to source all the peacock. No, I need a freezer full of peacock stat.
I've never actually liked poultry before. I don't like
Never
duck. I don't like chicken,
duck
and I
with in duck's defense, it may not have been cooked correctly. Duck is a very difficult meat to.
I've only ever had very expensive duck, and I don't like
Was
it.
it tough? Was it tough
No.
duck? Oh,
Mm-mm.
okay, then it probably was cooked correctly then.
I just don't I
Duck's
don't
an
like
odd one.
poultry. I don't really like it. I don't really like turkey. There's some I like
Do you like chicken?
there's some kind of like cut turkey that I like, but like roasted turkey, I don't like
I
poultry very much.
I I do prefer it with turkey. I prefer like the brown meat, so like
Mm.
the thigh, the leg. I do prefer that meat to like the breast, for example.
For me it's like it's a taste thing, but it's also a texture thing. I don't really like the taste of poultry, but I especially despise the texture as well.
But you like Chick-fil-A.
Um, yeah, I'll eat Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets. I will do that. I'll do it, but also if you actually watch me eat it, I'm very persnickety about like, and usually it's like half the chicken nuggets are left because I'm like, that looked weird and I didn't want to chance it of it like feeling weird or something, or like getting a weird part of the chicken
You
nugget. I don't
come
know.
here and I have a farm and you don't eat my birds. I'm gonna be mad.
I'll try them. I'll try it, but
I'll try your birds. I'll
I'll
try
try
to
your
eat
birds.
I'll try to eat the animals that you raised from birth.
I'll do my best.
I don't want much out of life. Okay, I just want flocks of random poultry. Okay, I want a Jersey cow. I want a couple like Nigerian dwarf goats, and I guess we can have some beef cows and lambs. Like I don't want much. I just want livestock. That's all I want, babe.
I get it. Same here.
I feel like that's not much.
It's not
Guess
much.
what? Because obviously like seasons are over, so we planted. You know how last year I grew tomatoes?
Yes.
That was about the end. Got more than that this year. Got cucumbers, lettuce, beetroot, carrots, etc., etc., etc. And
Beets
we've
are
got
like my favorite thing. I know this is weird. I love beets. I love beets.
well,
I don't know
pri-
why.
well,
It's very strange.
well, prior to February, 60 had only ever had like canned beetroot.
Hmm.
So it's like in the juice and it's all whatever, and like he wouldn't just sit there and eat it. Like I know everyone thinks we're weird for this, but it's a big thing to have on burgers here.
Okay.
Um,
You know what though? I can see that being good, and maybe I'm like I think that because I actually like them.
yeah,
Most people here,
like the canned ones are quite nice on burgers because like they're a good texture and everything, like because they're all soft and because they've been boiled and put in a can.
most people I know do not like beets.
Um, but then when we got married this year, where we were where we had dinner the first night we were there, the restaurant we went to part of his dish was roasted beets, and he was like, I've never known that they could taste like this. This is amazing. Because I wanted to plant them, and he'd be like, why the fuck would we plant them? Like, no. But then he really liked it, so we've got them growing. But our tomatoes are almost, at least our first lot of tomatoes are ready to ripen. Like they could ripen any day now, and I'm so excited.
That's exciting.
I don't really eat fresh tomato, like in general. Like just our cherry ones, our bigger ones are not ready yet. But I like picking them. Oh, my light died.
I'm sorry.
Why'd you die? Well, that's sad. I'm going to end up dark. Because this one's probably going to die shortly. We'll see what happens. Meantime, I'll just be side lit from one side. So I got two.
That's okay. My lighting's terrible.
Yeah, well, I had to do a light because my light's behind me, like my ceiling light.
Yeah.
So.
Although my lighting's not that bad right now because it's nighttime, so I'm not also like backlit by the fury of the sun.
Yeah. But you can see the difference.
Yeah. We were supposed to be talking about
book. Well, okay. So there's multiple. So throughout the book, she keeps on having like cute moments with Seth, but also Roman is very persistent, and she ends up like making out with Roman, and she's like, "Oh no, I sucked the thing," because she's really drunk as well. There we go. It's gone now.
yeah. She's rip roaring drunk.
Yes. She's like, "No, I can't do this," and then Seth takes her home. I can't remember why. Like to his house.
Well, because she is so drunk that she can't function.
Yeah, so he's like he's not being creepy. He's like, let's just get you somewhere like, you know, somewhere that is not outdoors.
Well, and I think
he lived near where they were.
Yeah, I think he's actually going to take her to her place, but basically she keeps vomiting on the way. And basically like so what winds up happening is he winds up just taking her home because he's like,
yeah, and she's covered in vomit, and he's like, oh, by the way, like we should probably get you something else to wear. And she's like, okay, so she just starts stripping naked in like right in front of him, and he's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna he's a gentleman. He's like, I'm gonna get you a thing. And then he's like finding a thing to put her in. And I do appreciate that it's a plaid shirt for her to sleep in.
I do as well.
I like plaid shirts. I like them.
As someone who's mine wears them all the time.
I know. And I approve. Okay, men should wear plaid more often, but he wears it every day. Well, he should still do it more often. Okay, that no ifs, no buts, no coconuts.
Mine is mostly in buffalo check and plaid. Like that's just what he wears.
That's fine.
I greatly enjoy it.
Yes, you should, because it's good. Plaid is good. And so yeah, she stays there, and then I don't know why, like she's gonna go home, but then he's like, do you want to come and see my family? And she's like, yeah, okay, because that's not weird. And like she genuinely doesn't think it's weird, so she does.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but you know what? I'm here for the ride.
Yes, it's fun. And then his
you know why it works though? Like you know why it works, I think, is it works because he's been presented as socially awkward enough that by this point you kind of buy that this is something that he would ask her to do.
Yeah.
Honestly, like so and I think that's why it works. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, so and because all she wants as well, like she regrets the fact that she doesn't get to have kids, and so she's down to go because she's like, yeah, any chance to hang out with Lily, like little kids, like I'm down for that, because it's his niece's birthday party and he's got like 5 nieces or something.
Yeah.
And then they're there, they chitty chat, whatever, and then they end up watching a movie, and his 4-year-old niece just like randomly just jumps up on her lap, and she's like, "Your hair's really pretty because it's French braided." And she's like, "Oh, thank you." And then like just while they're watching the movie, she just starts idly like braiding the niece's hair, and it's cute. Especially when we see it from his perspective later. But yeah, so her and Roman are kind of done after that. She won't talk to him anymore because she's like, I like this guy, and I don't want to corrupt his soul, which fair. Like she, meanwhile, other peeps are getting killed or attacked. Hugh gets beaten.
Hugh gets attacked, and then Lucinda,
who like insults her, like, oh, because that's the other thing as well. There ends up being a pattern, and she gets notes as well, like about the attacks after the first one, but like from the person doing it, and her and Hugh had an. She was upset with Hugh. He gets beaten. She'd already had, what's the first guy's name again?
Dwayne.
The vampire that got killed.
Dwayne is his name.
Yeah. They'd had a big thing prior to him dying. Lucinda called her a whore, and then Lucinda dies.
Bless you.
Thank you. So it appears that there is a connection between her and the person. Oh God, allergies. I hate this. My allergies have gotten worse since COVID because like we're all locked up for 2 years.
I've noticed that too.
Oh, honestly, have fun this flu season. Have fun. This year has sucked. Okay, winter sucked because everyone was sick like every 2 weeks.
I know,
because no one has an immune system. Yeah, so it appears that there's some sort of connection, but they're like, I don't know. And then Jerome and Carter are just like, look, just try not to die, okay? That would be lovely. She ends up also getting attacked at some point. She just gets beaten though. She doesn't get killed or anything. She's like, okay, well maybe they don't like me. I don't know what the fuck's going on then. There's other conflicts as well, but then she ends up getting like a note being like, you've got until the end of your shift to protect your boyfriend or he's gonna get or he's dead. Have fun. And she's like, what the absolute fuck? I don't know. Oh, and I'll be watching. I think at this point as well, she's realized what it is. Not who, but what.
Yeah, because she's like been investigating kind of idly. Like we said, there's not really
because it's an urban fantasy, so.
Right. There's honestly, there's not like a huge sense of urgency, kind of like we said.
Yeah, but she's also not sitting idly by, like waiting for the big guns to solve the problem. Because again, like it wouldn't be an urban fantasy paranormal book if the protagonist wasn't like, no, I need to solve this mystery.
Yeah. And one other thing about it, and a reviewer pointed this out actually, is that she's like older than dirt, right? Georgina is, but she doesn't know anything about the supernatural world,
which is weird, right? You know,
yeah, like you would think that someone who has been around for that long,
3,000 to 4,000 years,
would know more than she does, but she just
doesn't.
She doesn't seem to know shit, you know?
And I think part of that's explained by the fact that she's never really wanted to be a part of it. So, but like the people that she hangs out with are vampires.
Well, you would think that like you would be forced to just absorb something just by virtue of existing.
Yeah, I mean, because also like the vampires that she hangs out with, they're like her. They're not like other vampires. So like they're kind of insulated to an extent, but not completely.
Well, also again, it's been 3,000 years. You've just been.
Yeah. Like, even like 200 years, you'd be like, pretty sure you would have picked up at least something by now. But alas, no. Yeah, because she's having to go to Eric, who is a human, to get advice, and he's like, "Oh, I can't even remember the Bible verse now." Actually, I want to know the Bible
Genesis something.
Yeah, I know it's Genesis something. Let's Genesis 6 verse 2. But yeah, it's where is it? Okay, so yeah, Genesis 6:4. And it's about how like there were giants in the earth in those days. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown, etc., etc. And it was more or less about, but it turns out giant is another word for Nephilim. And anyone who has read anything regarding probably about a third of the YA genre back in the day knows what Nephilim is. It's like the Christian version of a demigod. It's half angel, half human.
Right.
But then, like for example, in the Mortal Instruments series and World, etc., the Nephilim are the descendants of those as well, because they're not immortal beings in that one. So in this one, they are though. Like you're born until like an angel or demon kills you. And the lore in this is the Nephilim at best have half the strength of their angel parent.
It's more than, it can be more than that. It's less than their angel parent.
It said no more than half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh no, I lie. Sorry. The half human. So maybe I misheard. That's the clincher Jerome said. It varies wildly, just as each angel has a different level of power. One thing is clear: Nephilim inherit a lot more than half their parents' power, though they can never exceed it. Sorry, that's my bad. I misremembered. Yeah, so they inherit a level of their parents' power, but they can never exceed it. And she ends up, I think, no, she finds out before this little scavenger hunt to find her boyfriend, who she's like, I don't know who my boyfriend is, because I've been hanging out with Seth, I've been hooking up with Roman. Doug has a thing for me. Like I don't know who this person thinks my boyfriend is, because I don't have any, so I need to make sure they're all safe. But before that, she finds out that Jerome is the father of the Nephilim. And that might have been what made him fall, because creating Nephilim is a fallable offense.
Right.
I don't think laying with a human inherently does it, but actually when the child is birthed. And we find out that he doesn't know if it's a boy or a girl, because he left. As soon as he found out his wife was pregnant, he yeeted, because he knew that the best thing to do with a Nephilim is to kill it. He's like, I don't think I could do that to her. Because I think it was more about his wife than the kids, right? Oh, one sec. Yeah, bud?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Oh, you wish you had shut the door, kid. Yeah, so he doesn't know if it's a boy or a girl. He's just like, look, there's a baby, I guess. And they're like, okay. And they're like, are you sure it's yours? And he's like, I can tell, because the signature of the Nephilim is like half me, half my wife. And like, there's literally like that. That's it. Like that's the energy signature. So she's doing the scavenger hunt. Oh, he's also down to kill his kid. He's like, yeah, like I'll do it. That's fine. Like it's been millennia and I've never met the kid. Like, I'll kill it.
Yeah.
And they're like, but they were confused because they were like, well, how are we like how? I think because like no, sorry, they weren't confused yet because they're like, well, I guess because like I mean, it's not going to be stronger than Jerome, so obviously Jerome can kill it. Sorry, one sec.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Jerome can kill it. And I don't think the Nephilim can kill Jerome, but like it's implied that the Nephilim might be able to give Jerome like a run for his money, basically.
Yeah, like I mean, because he could be like now that my memory has been refreshed, like he might not exceed Jerome's power, but he could be at like 99% of his power. But Carter,
which is why like Carter's help is important because
then there's two of them.
basically
It's a
Carter
demon and an
backup.
angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Carter backup is important.
Yeah, so now she's on a scavenger hunt. She like tries to call Roman. She's like, oh well, Seth's upstairs writing. I'll call Roman. Roman's not picking up. And she's like, fuck, okay. So then she goes upstairs. Seth's missing, and she's like, oh shit. So now she has to find Seth, Roman, and Doug because she's like, well, I need to make sure that Doug's fine too because don't want him to die, because he has a crush on me. So she finds Seth, locks him down, and she's like, come, we're going on a wild goose chase. And he's like, okay, this is random, but sure. They find Doug, and she's like, can you please make sure you're in populated spaces at all times? And he's like, okay, that's weird. And she's like, thanks, bye. And then for some reason she is like, okay, bye, Seth. I can't remember why. But Seth leaves. And I don't know why.
I forget why.
I think he was going back to the shop. So she's like, okay, he's crowded. I still need to find Roman. And
yeah.
So she's calling all the local community colleges because he had mentioned he teaches at one or something, trying to find where he works to try and find him because he's not picking up his damn phone. And she has until 9 p.m. And she can't find him. And so she just goes home and she's like, well, fuck, I don't know what to do now. Hopefully he calls me. And she's just about to leave to give like one last ditch attempt. And he's at the door. And I can't remember if he says it or if she guesses or something happens, but she works out he is the Nephilim they've all been hunting for.
Yeah.
No, she works it out because they were talking about when they kissed, and he was like, that did nothing. And she's like, no. And he's like, no, Georgina, it did nothing. And then she clicks and she's like, wait, I didn't get a power boost from that. I was so drunk I didn't even realize. And she's like, oh, it's you. And he's like, aha, 'tis I. And I am going. And she's like, but why? And he's like, because I was going to kill you, but damn, you sexy, babe. And she's like, I know I sexy, but what? And he's like, but we could have sex and you wouldn't like kill me. And she's like, but no. And he's like, but yes. And she's like, but you're evil. And he's like, but am I though? Or am I really just a product of my upbringing because, Nephilim? And she's like, but no. And he's like, but yes, let's have sex. And she's like, but no. And he's like, no, we're having sex. And then they have sex.
Yeah, they have sex.
And then they have it again. And then they have it again. And again.
And I don't disapprove.
Like they literally spend like 80% of the night banging. And then he's like, we could run away together. And she's like, okay, but why? And he's like, because, maybe I could change for you. I just need to kill an angel first. And she's like, oh, Carter. And he's like, oh, you know Carter? And she's like, no, I don't know Carter. And in her head, she's like, please don't kill Carter. I like him. But also, how are you going to kill him? And then
yeah,
she's like, but why'd you beat me up, though? And he's like, oh, no. And she's like, wait a second, there's another one. And she works out, turns out, twin. He has a twin sister. because there was also things about energy signatures and stuff, so she knew that it had to be like a twin, so she guessed twin, and he's like, oh yeah. So Jerome didn't know that there were two, because
The twin thing I had forgotten about.
Yeah, and
by the way,
Jerome didn't know that there were two, because obviously he left once the pregnancy was discovered, so he didn't know if it was a boy or a girl. Turns out it was both. It was both. And the twin is the one that beat her up. He's like, yeah, Sissy Poo don't like you. And she's like, but who the fuck is your sister anyway? And she's like, oh, I better call into work sick. And then she actually tries to call Jerome. He doesn't answer. So she calls Hugh, and she's like, hi, Doug. And he's like, no, it's Hugh. And she's like, no, I can't come into work today. I am so sick. And he's like, oh, wait, is something sus? And she's like, yes, that is correct. And I can't come in. And she's like, okay, hopefully he'll send in the cavalry. So she's like, okay, well,
I guess it's a good thing Nephilim don't have super hearing.
I know, right? And she's like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to just have to keep him occupied until, the cavalry get here. So they have more sex.
Which is fair enough, honestly. Like,
yeah. And then there's a knock at the door, and she's like, that must be the cavalry. I'm thinking, why the fuck would they knock? Jerome and Carter are not knocking on your door to come and kill the Nephilim. They're just popping in, because they can pop. They could just go.
Right.
And it's Seth. And he's like, and he brought breakfast, and it's cute, and you're like, oh no. And then Roman comes out, and he's like, hey, and he's like, oh no. And like Seth, like that's Seth. He's like, oh, I'm so heartbroken. And just as he's like, I guess I'll leave then. I just thought because you had today off of work, I would come by. And Roman's like, who did you call? Because that was her excuse. She had to call in sick for work. And then he calls his backup, and he's like, yo, backup, I need you here. And presumably backup says, okay. Because then backup shows up. And backup is Helena, crazy witch bookstore lady. She's like,
which was great, by the way.
Yeah. As soon as he said like female and doesn't like you, like sister and doesn't like you, I'm like, oh, it has to be that bitch. And it was, and I was not disappointed. And they're like, haha, we're gonna do a thing. And then Carter and Jerome show up, and they're like, lol, no. And because they're in their true forms, and humans cannot look at angels and demons in their true forms, or they die.
Yep, or they die.
Because their true forms are too awesome to behold, or whatever. Like it runs Georgina, like it messes with her as well. It knocks her out. So, and Seth's trying to look at them because, like, he's confused. Like he's like he just brought some breakfast donuts or whatever the fuck it was, and now like angels and Nephilim and demons are battling, and so he's looking. It's just like, don't look at them, look at me. And he looks at her, but then he goes to look away again. So she's like, well, I need to do something. So she kisses him. And when she kisses people, she can see their thoughts and stuff. And she gets to see everything he's thought and felt about her since the moment he first met her, and how much he admires her, and watching her with his niece and stuff like that, and then picturing her with their own children, and etc. etc. And she's like, oh wow, this is amazing. And she almost like actually kills him, because succubi don't kill their people unless they don't stop feeding. And she wasn't going to stop feeding because she just wanted to keep drinking in more of how he felt about her. And Carter, freaking Angel Carter, has a hard time getting her to get off of him. But he does. And Helen is dead. Roman got away. They're like, we need to erase Seth's memory. And she's like, please don't. For the love of God, please don't. And they're like, but he knows everything. And she's like, look, give him a chance. And then if he reacts badly, then maybe do it then. And she makes a deal with Jerome to they decide they're going to wait it out, because Carter can also tell truth from lies and stuff. So Carter can assess whether or not he's good. And so she makes a deal with Jerome, because Jerome's cranky that she's not corrupting souls. She's just already feeding from already corrupted souls. She makes a deal that if Seth gets to keep all of his memories of everything, then then she will corrupt souls for the next century.
Yeah.
I think it was like 1 or 2 a month or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if it turns out he has to have his memory erased, then she'll only do it for a third of that time. Because she still owes payment for at least the attempt. And so they agree, and Seth's down for it, and he sends her a note. Oh, he finally gives her back a book. Because he hasn't given her back a book at this point. He gives it back, and he makes reference to so-and-so did a thing, or whatever. She looks it up, and it was effectively someone was in love with a shapeshifter or whatever, and he waited for her, and he would have moved heaven and hell to be with her. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was effectively like a literary metaphor of I'm in love with you, and I will be with you if in whatever way necessary.
Yeah.
And then the book ends.
Yep. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
it. I'm looking forward to book 2.
I am too.
I think it was fun.
Like, I'm pretty here for it, honestly. Yeah, and I have to say, again, now that we've kind of gone through it, the love triangle, IMO, rock solid.
Yep.
Like
well, it was well. I think it helps that she was trying to avoid being with either of them, and there was no existing relationship. Like she didn't get into a relationship with one, and then the other came along. Now she's like, I don't know who to choose. It was just like one's a sex bomb, one's like the emotional love. She meets them both the same night, and she's like, I can't be with either of you because I'm going to kill you. But they just keep pulling her back in. And
yeah,
I don't know if that plays a factor or not. I don't know. But she did good. I will say that like she's not that bad at her love triangles, because like with like Rose, Dimitri, and Adrian. We all knew that Dimitri was like gonna be, right? But that wasn't insufferable.
It wasn't insufferable, but like
this
when
one
you kind of know it's not going anywhere, and also like the only love triangles are no fun when there's a correct opinion, I guess. Like,
I beg to differ, and this is from another Richelle Mead one. Sydney, Adrian, and whatever the fuck his name was. Remember how she had that boyfriend for a while? Brunson or something?
Oh yeah, okay.
Brayden.
Yes.
That was fun because she's so stupid. And he was annoying, and Adrian was petty, and it was fun.
But that was like a different vibe.
I know it was, but it was still a fun love triangle.
We talked about that for 5 hours.
Honestly, I could talk about Sydney and Adrian all damn day, and then, well, we did. We talked about Sydney and Adrian effectively all my damn day.
But I thoroughly enjoyed like the back and forth, and I didn't not, like I enjoyed both.
Yeah. I mean, the Roman one was kind of like I was sus on him, right? Like he was too persistent. Even for
what's funny is like when I remember when I first read it, finding Seth annoying, and now I like him better. Like
he's just a shy guy, and you're like, oh, but he loves her, and it's obvious he does, but she doesn't know that because she's stupid.
Yeah, like I also find like I don't know, like his actual personality is like a bold move
Yeah.
for a book. Like that's a bold choice, and you know what? I like it.
And, oh, one thing we didn't touch on. Why is she a succubus? Well, when she lived in
Oh yeah.
Cyprus, she was 15 and she was tall, and like people thought she was weird looking because she was really tall and whatever. Because especially for like 3,000 years ago, 5'10" is like giant, right? Because average height has increased, and 5'10" is still I think it's
Yes.
about average for men now.
Uh, average for men is a little shorter than that, actually.
Okay, well, so she's tall. She's naturally taller than the modern day average man height. Um, so 3,000 years ago, freaking giantess, and
Mm-hmm.
she goes to deliver a message to a fisherman or whatever, and his son is like, "Hello," and then son falls in love with her, and they get married, and it's cute for a bit, but he's a musician or whatever, and he goes away for a while, and he's just like kind of withdrawn and stuff. She's like, I want a baby, and he's like, yeah, well, we've got plenty of time for babies, like you're a teenager, it's fine, because 15, it's fine.
Real quick, a nitpick and a note on historical marriages for any
Yep.
writers out there. Historically speaking, people did not get married at the age of 15, unless you were like nobility. This just really didn't happen.
Let's say ancient Greece average age for.
Well, here's why it didn't happen. Especially for women.
Oh no, ancient Greece between 14 to 16 for girls.
So for nobility, it would have happened for like alliances and stuff, but for like peasants, we really don't see this that often. And the reason why we don't see it is because if you think about it now, right? In order to bear children, what do you need to have? You need to have a period. Okay. And the average age to get a period is getting lower.
Yeah.
And the worse your nutrition is and stuff like that, the older typically you'll actually get your period and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
You're reading. Okay, this is Wikipedia, right? It says marriage was usually arranged between parents of the bride and groom. A man would choose his wife based on three things: the dowry, her presumed fertility, and her skills such as weaving. There was no established age limits for marriage, although with the exception of political marriages, waiting until childbearing age was proper decorum. Many girls were married by the age of 14 to 16, while men commonly married around age 30.
like I said, this is like that's pretty generalized, and it's pretty much not really true for like normal people, because here's the thing that we also know,
because political
even
marriages,
today,
like, they would happen at like age 8.
even today, having a baby at 16 is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, look,
Having a baby at 16 without modern medicine, way more dangerous. Okay,
Yeah.
if you even had your period yet. So
yeah, like like for a 12-year-old, right? A 12-year-old can technically give birth, technically, because most 12-year-olds have their period by now, right? Like I'm talking
not
current
back
times.
then.
I'm talking current
sorry.
times.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, most 12-year-olds have their period. However, the hips have not finished widening for starters, and that is a big thing. Like
Your hips don't finish widening until you're in your 20s. So
like it's much safer for a 16-year-old versus a 12-year-old, for example, but it's still not great for the 16-year-old. But
Right.
a 12-year-old, it's dangerous. Like, it's possible, and many a 12-year-old today, unfortunately, right? Because, like, let's be honest, no one wants a 12-year-old having a baby. But especially with modern medicine and like being able to assess for ultrasounds and everything, most 12-year-olds, at least in the Western world or whatever, where they have access to medical care, most 12-year-olds that fall pregnant and decide to carry the baby can give birth, but it's not good for them. In long term, it's not good for them. Like, physically, it's not good for their long-term physical health. I actually went to a girl in my roll call class. I guess your equivalent of homeroom. She was in year 7. I was in year 8. She started school. So if you're born, I think before May, because our school year starts like at end of January, beginning of February. If your birthday's before May, you can either start a year early or the year where everyone else is turning 13. Like, we'll say high school, right? You generally turn 13 in year 7. But if you're born before May, you can turn 12 in year 7.
Okay.
She was in that group. So she was 11 when she started high school, because high school here starts at year 7. She was pregnant, fell pregnant in year 7 to a boy in my grade. So nothing predatory happened, right? Like
still,
yeah, like, still not good, but at least it wasn't a predatory thing. Like, it was a boy the grade above her, which isn't. And she ended up having the baby a month before her 13th birthday.
That's awful.
It was fine. She was it turned out okay. It didn't end up turning out okay in the long run, because like the baby got taken off of her after like when I was about 8 months old, because they were smoking pot with the baby in the room. Like that, but the risk of complications though at 12 is so much higher. And again, like, it's gross. Okay, 12-year-olds should not be having babies. And again, it's physically not safe.
But my general point is that I know what Wikipedia says, but I'm telling you as a historian, I'm telling you that 18 to 20 something, if you're doing a historical thing, is when people got married. Okay, people got married when they could actually have kids, because you have to remember, people knew that doing babies before that was dangerous, and babies are expensive. And I don't mean that in just the money way. I mean that in resource ways, and I mean that in as in they're resource intensive and they're dangerous. And
they would risk earlier baby bearing in, for example, nobility. Like, noble women, I think, typically attempted to have children at younger ages, but that's because heirs had to be born, and you needed a boy. So you wanted as many shots at having a boy as possible. More or less, like, once if you were married, like if you were married to a king, more or less, like, once you get that first period, like, okay, it's time to start trying for babies, because he needs an heir. Which gross, but also I've also they were more likely to survive it, because they also had like the best care.
Yeah, and so, like I said, you're not marriage at 15, like it just the likelihood
it wasn't
that
as common as we've been led to believe.
The likelihood that she probably would have, because getting your period at like 14 before the modern era was about when people got it, so she wouldn't have been considered like a fully fledged woman at 15.
It's again, aside from like political marriages and stuff, because again, they would marry single digit age girls to teenage boys,
but they wouldn't be doing boink, by the way.
But
that's
they wouldn't be
what
doing
they did.
No, like the 14-year-old is not sleeping with the 7-year-old. It's fine, but they'd be like, no, we need to get this alliance out of the way. Sometimes there would be a betrothal, okay, and sometimes the marriage would get done before she was physically fertile.
But they still don't boink until later. Like, they don't consummate marriages that young. Typically, sometimes they do. Sometimes bad things happen, but it was not considered proper.
I think it depended on A, the individuals, B,
also
the
my
culture.
specialty is Europe, so I'm talking about Europe. Okay.
Yes. But yeah,
other areas of the world, things might happen differently.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, her and I can't even remember how to say his name.
Kyriakos or some shit. I don't know.
I think that's right. Kyriakos, yeah. We'll just call him Kiri, okay? So her and Kiri, they get married when she's 15. I don't know if we're told how old he is. And she's like, I want a baby. And he's like, but I've got music to make. We've got plenty of time for making babies. And he was deeply in love with it though, but like he would get lost in his art. And that should have been a sign for spoilers.
Ain't it though?
I know, right?
Especially given the story that Seth tells about his ex.
Yeah. And his best friend starts coming by while he's away playing his music. And they're hanging out, but they have like this kind of like, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like with her and Seth and her and Roman, when you think about it. She has like this deep emotional love kind of relationship blossoming with Seth, and with Roman it was all like just physical and lust. And that's what she was developing with Kiri's best friend. And then one day he's out and best friend pops by and he's like, we're gonna fuck now. And she's like, okay. So they do all the fuck. And then Kiri gets home early and catches them. And she has brought shame upon everything. And she's like, and to be fair, rightly so, okay? She should be shunned. Everyone should be gossiping about her. She's gross. She did it bad. And she instantly regretted it. She was like, no, he was the love of my life. What the hell have I done? And even like 3,000 to 4,000 years later, she still regrets what she did to him. And then she meets an imp, not Hugh, a different one. Because I think Hugh's only a century old. I think his name's Niphan or Nephin. She meets him and he's like, do you want to make a bargain? And she's like, sure, let's make a bargain. So she wants everyone to forget about her. And all she has to pay in exchange for that is her soul, because her family are heartbroken. He's heartbroken. He's depressed. He's a depressed, angry man whose life was ruined. And yeah. So, yeah, so that ends. And, so, and then Lilith, I think it was, rocks up and she's like, okay, succubus time. And she's like, okay, succubus time. And that's how she became a succubus. She, she sold her soul to help her husband and family forget that she existed and not be hurt by what she did anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. I feel like that's just relevant to keep in mind because it was in the book. So we need to know her origin story.
Yeah. And I think that's it.
I think that's it. But yeah. We'll have to work out when we want to do book 2.
I could do it like next week.
Cat, no. Stop. Give me 1 second. Sorry. The cat likes to... She scratches at the doors. She always scratches at the damn doors. It's like, do you have to? Stop! Don't know if you can hear that. It's so loud.
I can, yeah.
Yeah, that's the cat. She does that as well when I'm trying to sleep. She'll just stand outside my bedroom door scratching. I'm like, you You've never been allowed in here. Stop it. But yeah, could maybe that might be too soon. Sunday might be too soon. We'll work out a day.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But until then, we will see you guys when we do it. Bye.
Bye.